In this video I want to show you how to download the basic files that you're going to use for your coursework. You will of course amend these greatly, but at least a lot of the typing has been done for you and you've got a good starting point. The first thing you need to do is to navigate to the website www.o-vl.com/coursework, and that should get you the page that you see here. This will be your home page. Obviously you're going to change the name at the top, you change the units, and you'll change all sorts of other things. But before we get going, let me just show you a little trick that I've included in here. Not everybody prefers black text, so I've allowed the user to select the text as white, or even to change it back again if they think they did prefer it. We're going to use this technique for all sorts of other things. You'll be able to change the background colours, you'll be able to change the text size. There are all sorts of things that you're going to be able to allow the user to do to customise the site for themselves without having to do an awful lot of programming. Now you'll see across here I've got a list of the units. These are the units that I've put in. Your list of units may be slightly different, and in the next video I'll be showing you how to amend everything. Down here is a section about you. In my case, as you can see, my photo is a recent one, just after I got up this morning, and you'll be able to put in all your details. Please feel free to put in either a UCAS statement or some sort of statement about yourself if you're not going to university. Put in text that describes your past, present and future. So for the past, not I was born on, but I really liked primary school, but my secondary school, that was, and so on. And you can explain things as you go. You've also got a list of links in the bottom here that allow you to navigate as well. So how do you get the HTML for this web page? Well, all browsers have a way of viewing the source code. In Chrome, click on the spanner, go to Tools, and a pop-out menu appears. Go to View Source, and as you can see, the shortcut Ctrl-U will also get you here. So if I click on View Source, up comes all the HTML for this particular web page. Now we're going to use the same technique we used before. We're going to click anywhere on the page, Ctrl and A to copy, Ctrl and C to copy, sorry, Ctrl and A to select everything, Ctrl and C to copy. Then we're going to go into our favourite text editor, in my case it's Notepad++, Ctrl and V, and here I have all that code without having to type a line. And that technique works with all other websites. So if you see a website that does something that you particularly like, you can go into the website, have a look at the HTML and JavaScript, and copy the code that you want. Don't forget that you can paste it straight into Evernote if that's how you prefer to do things. I certainly do. Right, now I'm going to save this, and the first page has to be saved as index.html. All browsers understand that index.html is the home page. So there's now a difference between the actual name of the home page and what users call the home page. Index.html is the way it should be saved, and it must be exactly like that. So if I click on Save, do I want to replace it? Yes. And there it is. As you can see, because Notepad++ now understands that this is HTML, it's color coding all the text for me. And that's quite good later on, as you'll see. Now if I go back to my web page, I can now close the source, And what I'd like to do is to go to the web design unit. I've set up one unit page and one criterion page as well. So if I click on web design, here you can see that I've got a section for each of the criteria, a brief description of what it is, when I plan to complete it, the actual completion date, and the date at which your lecturer signs it off. That way you can keep track of everything that's going on, and that will make your life a lot easier. Notice at the top we've got the same menu for the units. We've got the ability to change from white to black and back again, and we've got the various criteria in the footer at the bottom. So now if I click on P1, that will take me to the P1 criterion. But before I do that, I want the code for this page. So I'm going to click on the spanner, Tools, and View Source. Control and U would have got me there as well. Click anywhere on the page, Control and A to highlight everything, Control and C to copy it, and then into my text editor. Add a new page, Control and V, and now I can save that as, and it must be exactly like this for the minute, Unit 28 .html, and that will allow me to save that. You'll see why getting it exactly right is important in the next video. That's that one saved, and now back here, close the source, click on P1, and here's my P1 page. All the coursework will eventually get typed in there. This page, I also want the source. So Tools, View Source, Control and A, Control and C, go to my text editor, add a new page, Control and V, and save it. This now is 28 webdes -P1, and that way, .html, don't forget the .html, and that way everything is named correctly. Now one final little trick. You'll have noticed that all the colouring for these pages is in the same style. What I really want to do is to have that style as well. You can see here I've got jQuery, but here is myscheme.css. If you click on that, you also open up the cascading style sheet code. Cascading style sheets are what you use to make all the pages of your website have a similar look and feel, and this is really useful. So I'm going to click somewhere, Control and A, Control C. I'm going to start a new page, Control and V, and I'm going to save that as myscheme.css and save it. Now you probably think that I've been overdoing things about getting the naming right. In most computer programming languages, if you make a mistake in the code, the program falls over it, sticks its little silicon legs in the air and says, "I'm not playing." HTML doesn't do that. It just says, "Don't understand that. Okay, move on to the next bit, see if I understand that." So what you get is something that doesn't look right. It'll have bits missing. It won't be displayed in quite the way you want. Now I've always had students who say, but I've typed it in exactly as you said and it doesn't work. Your handout is wrong. No, it isn't wrong. Actually, you've typed it in incorrectly. Now at school that would have been seen as you being naughty, you not paying attention to what you're doing. In real life, everybody makes mistakes. Not you, not just you and me, everybody. And one of the tricks of being able to program a computer is to be able to find an error and just get on with doing it, rather than to worry about whether somebody else's notes are right and whether the browser works correctly. And no, it's always us that have got it wrong. Just get over it. There's nobody inside the computer going to point a finger at you, no little imp going to come out and say, yeah, but you said. It's not happening. Yeah. You just go and find the error. The more you get into finding errors, the easier finding errors becomes. And it is always something as simple as you've misspelt something. Always something very easy. The really hard things, you spot those immediately. But the simple little, you've got 2 S's in my scheme or something, that you can't spot at all. And you have to go through and go through and go through and check all the little bits. Well, we've now got all the code, and you'd think that that was everything done, but it isn't. We've still got one other little item. Let me show you. We're now back here, and I'm going to go to the home page. Supposing there's a graphic that you want on a website. What you do is put your cursor over it, right click, and then go to Save Image As, and that works in all browsers too. Now beware of copyright. You can't just use somebody else's graphics willy-nilly. In this case, this is copyright free, but other times, well, do be careful, particularly if you're creating something commercially. If you're creating something commercially, your graphic will be found by the original author. There are ways of doing that. However, here what we want to do is to substitute your photo into where mine is now. So what you do is you get a photo of yourself and save that to the same place as you've saved all the other files. Call that myphoto.jpg. So what you should end up with is a list of these 5 files in this particular directory. Make sure you have all of those, and they should be spelt exactly like this. Now I'll see you in the next video to make those changes.